Hello, one and all. It's Thomas Ruzbezar, author. Sorry, I got a brain fart there. Here I am hanging in my car, looking out in the hills, out to the hills, toward the future. So, been reflecting on what it means to be a writer. Yes, very general, very vague. Very, I've been doing this for 15, 20 years. My second book, not my first book, my second book that I worked on, I'm having problems here, folks. It's so tight on my head, it's choking my vocal cords, and yeah. That my second book was published, An Expectation of Plenty. My first book I reworked into a novel in verse. Anyway, I'm on my fourth book. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I've lived in the world of rejection. Many rejections from all my works, from all, to this day. And you're talking about 15, 20 years of rejection, dozens, if not hundreds. Look, my second book got a great recommended review, An Expectation, on Kirkus. Those I know, those others who've read it, others who know my other manuscripts, who've worked, my editor, people I know are very impressed with my work. Look, I'm very impressed. And not that I'm boasting. I'm not trying to boast here. I'm just trying to keep it real with you. I have read so much, meaning through the years. As a writer, I took all that and kind of made my own, way forward, my own style, my own voice. I firmly believe in my work, like all writers should, but, I'm getting to a place in my journey as a writer where, boy, I'm starting to feel beaten down, very discouraged by the world of publishing, of the rejections. I don't know what's what, who's who anymore. It gets very, and here I am embarking on my fourth book that I'm doing my final edit of, Chupa, and again going through that whole rigmarole of trying to get, into the pearly gates, into the very rare strata of getting an agent, of getting a major publisher. And that's the hope, right? I mean, there's always the possibility of self-publishing, heck, even starting your own publishing house, which is a lot of work, but I am toying with that. But regardless of anything that I've said, I am struggling. I have been struggling this year. I think a lot of life things are playing into that in terms of, should I continue to write? Is it worth it? All the work, all the commitment, the daily commitment, the daily grind, the grind of rejections, of researching agents, of publishers, of submitting, of all of it. I'm getting to a place where maybe for the first time ever, I'm really doubting if I should continue this thing. But my saving grace is, when I think of being a writer and not being affected by all this, not letting that discourage or affect my creativity, my desire to write, because I think one does need motivation, and that has been flagging for me. The concept of writing. I want to understand that writers are those who write, regardless of outcome, regardless of expectation. I know it's tough. I have to get to that place. I'm trying to get to that place of being there. And as a writer, you write, no matter what happens, no matter what's done, you keep on building that body of work. It might be very tough. I'm going through that. I'm going through that crisis right now. That, not doubt. I think it's a little bit of doubt. More, it's like, God, man, it beats you down. It's discouraging. I think one does need motivation, but can I take that and still push that aside and keep the writer in me, the one who does love words, who does love stories, who does love crafting, who does love craftsmanship. I put so many hours into this. And you've heard that those who survive, those who last, those who persevere, usually, well, I don't know about that. I don't know. It's a mixed bag. No matter, everybody has their own luck or what have you, or connections or not, or whatever happens. I've put so many hundreds of hours, thousands of hours into my writing life. And it's I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up hope on my work seeing the light of day. I'm talking about my body of work, my goals, because I think that's very important. About, hey, I have, you have your short term, you're working on a project. You have your long term, what do you want to build? And I do want to build. I want to build a body of work that does stand the test of time. That, for me, that is a very personal, deep-rooted personal goal, that hopefully my work, my body, entire body of work, will eventually see the light of day, and anybody will be able to access it, read it, be affected, experience it. So that's my hope. Like all writers, I'm sure. Come on, any artist, right? But I am understanding that a writer does write regardless of outcome, regardless of expectation, and I'm struggling to maintain that truth in myself at this point in time as a writer in my journey, because I've questioned, like, boy, it is work. It's not, but there's also the beauty that comes with the freedom of writing. You're not collaborating. I mean, you get to a point of collaboration with editors and stuff like that, but 90% of it, 95% of it is you. And really, it's 100% of it is you. And I love the freedom that you could set up your own agenda, your own plan. You can write whenever you want to write. No one's looking over your shoulder. You can take all the time, or as much time or little time as you want. All of it. I love that aspect of writing. I think that's the one thing, the freedom of it, that I do enjoy. That is so crucial to who I am. And that's another thing. It's hard to separate. I can't speak for other writers, but it's so hard to separate me, who I am, and my writer. It's like where it's just so entwined and interrelated in the way I receive the world, live in the world, exist, communicate, my worldview. Everything is wrapped up in my writing self and my writing journey. And to give that up, sometimes I do. I go to bed at night. That's when the demons come out, ladies and gentlemen. That's when I'm like, oh man, I can't do this anymore. I just can't wake up and go, I just, what am I doing? All this research and the next project, and I have these projects planned, right? And it's like, oh, what do I really want to do this? The writer in me says yes, absolutely. The other part of me, where publishing, blah blah, this, agents, rejections, of course, you not just doubt. It's like the motivation is lagging, but the battle continues. I hope to continue battling, and I want to really maintain the purity of my writer's self. And I hope anybody who's watching this, especially writers, anybody in whatever craft you're doing or whatever you're doing in your life, I think one must have hope. One must have desire. One must have motivation. But is it for the thing in and of itself, right? And can we raise that above all other things? Peace.